What's up, everybody? What's up? It's your man, Governor Wildstar. Apologize for the technical difficulties here. I'm actually running the studio myself, which is a first here. So please just bear with me. But I am handling the studio here on my lonesome since I don't have Mr. Marcus Liberty with me. And I do have a couple of guests joining in with me on this Rona rundown. You know what we got to do? We got to talk about this coronavirus bullshit. Bring you guys up to speed with the latest news updates here in California, as well as around the world, you know, if it pertains to you or whatever the case may be. But you know what we do. As the show goes along, just feel free to drop some comments. I got it right here in the stream. I got my man, D-Man, 5200 in the house. He said, what's up? He's wild, but he's also a star. Oh yeah. Hey, thank you for tuning in, D-Man. My man also hit me with 99 cents. Hey, I appreciate the super chat, man. Any of you people out there on YouTube, if you want to give your boy some money, donate, truly do appreciate it. So yes, definitely, donate whatever you can. The 99 cent goes a long way, man. So good looking out for sending that money this way. And yes, as I said, I do have a couple of guests that's going to be joining with me here today. Mr. Joshua Flynn, who is actually candidate running for office out in Illinois, and civil rights activist Devante Clark. Hopefully I can get them both in the studio real soon. So we can talk about what's going on with this whole coronavirus thing. So a few updates. Please, guys, like I said right now, go to my website, governorwildstar.com. I have set it up to where you can make donations. It is extremely imperative that you put your money where your mouth is during this time. The revolution depends on it, and what we're doing is we're trying to bring more attention to what's going on here in Fresno, here in the state of California, or just all over the world, as I said. But it does take amount of capital, and with what's going on, it's difficult to generate that if we can't go to work. You know what I'm saying? I see you right there, Mr. Clark, and I also see Mr. Flynn. I'm gonna jump you guys here in just a moment. So I got my guests with me, but as I said, please, you guys, go to the website. Let me see if I could drop that. I gotta do all of this shit myself, but there it is right there. GovernorWildstar.com. Visit the website and please donate whatever you can. So I'm gonna bring in my guests here. First and foremost, as I said, I got Mr. Stevante Clark, who's a civil rights activist out in Sacramento. What's up, Mr. Clark? And welcome to the show. You were there, but now you're not there. I can see you. But I can see you. I can see you like in the screen, but I don't see you on the feed for some reason. And I got Mr. Joshua Flynn. Joshua Flynn in the house. What's up, Mr. Joshua Flynn? Candidate.
What's going on?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, cool. The only one I cannot see is Mr. Clark here. Where you at?
I'm trying to get it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you on my phone. I cannot hear you in the studio or see you in the studio.
I don't have my assistant with me either. So.
Yeah, okay, you froze. Yeah, you froze, man. So you probably got to restart something or something.
Let me fix it. Give me a second.
All right, cool. So until then, Mr. Clark is having technical difficulties, but he will be back in un momento. But in the meantime, I do have Mr. Joshua Flynn in the house. What's up, Brother Flynn? Thank you for joining me here today.
Oh, sure thing, man. Sure thing.
All right. Thank you for talking with us on this Rona rundown. Gonna talk about the effect the coronavirus is having on, the people throughout the country. You know what I'm saying? So, Josh, if you could just introduce the people out there to yourself. Tell them who you are, man.
My name is Joshua Flynn. I'm running for state rep here in the state of Illinois, District 78. Right now, basically, we like I said, we're on shutdown here in Illinois. Had some good news the past few weeks with our court issues with our ballot access. So we are going to be on the ballot come this November here in Illinois because of our win this year.
Right.
Basically, what I do here in Illinois, I work with non-for-profits. One of my major non-for-profits is North Austin Council. We do block club building, with the community here in Austin community of Chicago, which is on the west side of Chicago. Another organization I work with is GTW, Illinois. Here in Illinois, especially in Chicago, north side, south side, west side, we help people with getting jobs, getting back to work. Mostly ex-felons. We help them out a lot with our programs. And another program is Mothers on a Mission, where we work with people that went through trauma, with a loved one, losing loved ones, and dealing with that trauma throughout the process. And yes, this is what we do, here in Illinois.
Wow, man, it sounds like you're really involved in the community over there. You know what I mean? We need more people like you taking a hands-on approach on getting things back on track, especially in the inner cities, because you got a lot of people that come in from the outside trying to tell those people that do live in those communities what's best for them, like I don't know if you've seen the mayor of Chicago, the little short-haired lady. Does she actually live in Chicago? That lady crazy, man.
North Chicago, yeah. She lives here.
Wow, yeah, that lady, I don't know, man. She just seems very authoritarian, and for her to be black and be co-signing with, forced slavery, because that's really what this is. I mean, let's break it down and tell it tell it like it is. We are being forced indoors, and if we do not comply, we will face face the repercussions for that. So it's sad that we are being threatened for exercising our freedom for the sake of security. So someone that's such as yourself that's running for state representative, hopefully you can be influential in making sure that our freedoms and liberties are protected,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But we'll just take a hit of this right quick. I'm still waiting for Mr. Clark. It says your device is not connected. You're in the room, but your device, it says your mic or your cam needs to be connected before you can stream. So hopefully he'll be able to resolve his technical issues. But what's going on with the application of the stay home order there in Illinois? Because
basically, we're still in lockdown, but it's opened up things slowly but surely is what's been going on lately. Like right now, we got some stores are opening back up. Some counties here in Illinois, Chicago, we have right now like barbershops in our area. They are most of them are by appointment. In my area, especially, they only one person at a time. They by appointment. So things are opening up. A lot of stuff is still open. I know people was told before that we was locked down at 5 o'clock. Stuff was shut down. That wasn't totally true. A lot of stores and restaurants were still open, well into their regular times. A lot of our convenience stores now, they shut down. Some of them at midnight, some before that. That's pretty much nothing. Too much changed. People are still doing. It's like what they're doing to do. People are still having parties. They
Wow. Yeah, I know. I've seen videos of that.
A lot younger though. There's a lot younger groups that's doing that. The people that's really concerned is the seniors. They're very concerned. Because it's concerned about their health. A lot of them don't have good health, so they it just bothers them. And making them feel safe about it. About being able to move about. Me personally, I move about. As I wish. Right now, I do stuff for my campaign. I speak with my people of my organization. Do a lot of Zoom meetings now. Really, that's bothersome because it's like 20 Zoom meetings per day now. So because of it, but
right, yeah, I know. See, I don't know what's going on there in Illinois, but it sounds like you guys are moving a lot further along than here in California, where we got this whole phase program implementation. So I guess in phase 1, they're supposed to limit all non-essential travel. Then phase 2 is supposed to be, retail stores and all this other stuff. And then there's another phase 3, where it's, hairdressers, barbershops, stuff like that, and then phase 4 is supposed to be everything else. So this whole phase 2 part still doesn't even include, business offices, which is, a very large part of the economy here in California, especially in places like Silicon Valley, where, right. It's a business office. So to take those people out of that environment and now put them to where they must stay home and, interact with their coworkers, such as we are, makes it extremely inconvenient for them. Some of them find it unproductive. Some of the business owners are even reporting that they're seeing lack of productivity because of that, home office environment. So there's multiple factors that go into that. And then that leads to them shuttering and closing the doors on the business also. So it's like a ripple effect, you know what I mean? But yeah, are they having like this phase implementation thing going on there in Chicago?
That's what be going on, but like I say, a lot of stuff is still open. So as in our communities, like we don't too much see it really shutdowns in our communities, our Black communities, because people still kept a lot of stuff going. The only thing that probably was one thing was already shut down and not going on is the churches. Churches was not having services, but they will still, they do online services. They have the pastors, meet at the church, and
right,
a few people will be there, members of that church, and they do a Zoom and they do a Facebook Live.
Yeah,
but that's pretty much about as far, Now, when it gets downstate has they've been complaining. They've been doing a lot of protesting, especially the smaller counties, which is not having these issues. They 1 or 2 cases. I think at most. I think I've seen downstate. Like St. Clair County, I think they had maybe close to 200, maybe in the whole county, maybe. But on regular, it's like 1 to 10, 1 to 20 cases per county down here in Illinois. Cook, Lake, Will, DuPage. That's where it's a lot broader cases. But we got 102 counties here, and the other 90 some counties they have 50 or less cases in the whole county. So.
And that's crazy because Illinois is a big state, but so is California, and there's certain counties that have been allowed to, or that are actually like Chicago or Illinois and parts of Illinois, to where they're just opening up. So I got my man Stevante Clark, who finally got his technical difficulties worked out. What's up, brother Clark? Can you hear us now? Can you hear me now? All right, he was there, but he left again. So hopefully we'll get things resolved with that. He'll be jumping back here momentarily. Dang it. Hold on. How can we do that? All right, there we go. So anyways, and we got a few people jumping up in the room. Gia Christopher says hello. Hello to you, Gia. And hello, Lynn Owens, who says she is a 57-year-old disabled white woman who actually voted for me. So thank you, Lynn, for your support. And with, I guess, this whole high risk thing, it's sad that they're telling us, don't go around older people, don't go around our grandparents, you know what I mean? And Stevante, have you seen your grandparents or any of the seniors in your family?
Oh yeah, I see my grandma, I've seen a few other seniors, and my thing is, because everybody says we're all Christians, leave it to God's hands, and if you die,
Amen.
you die. So, if you're not supposed to be around me, stay your ass away from me. I don't mean to get nobody sick or nothing, but at the same time, if you have a weak immune system, stay the hell away from me. So I've seen grandma. My grandma has a very healthy, strong immune system. We're not scared of no coronavirus. It's a spirit of fear. We're not living in fear. We're not afraid. We live in our lives still. We're still doing Stefan Clark Sundays, and the revolution will continue.
Excellent. That's what we want to hear, man, because right now, that's actually what I want to talk to you about, because we actually went to the Reopen California protest that was at the state capitol on Friday. And we went right to the steps of the state capitol, let Gavin Newsom know that we, the people, would like to resume business as usual, on May Day of all days, where it's a fight for workers' rights. And right now, the average worker has been told they can't work. They're, not essential to the society. And they're definitely essential to the economy. And that's what needs to be recognized the most. So Stevante went with me. And you would think, being black men involved in this whole, what's looked at as being a Trump, white Trump supporter type of atmosphere, we were there and we were completely ignored. You know what I'm saying? Stevante, of all people, did you even get approached by the media at all?
Twice. I got approached by twice. They weren't. It was not the mainstream media, but it was some of the more. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah. It was more the small local podcast and the guys who actually came out and helped organize the rally. A lot of their supporters, I did a lot of media with them, but I actually seen stuff on Twitter as well. But a lot of the mainstream media, I've seen them, but I have personal relationships with the media here in Sacramento, so it was pretty much I was just out there being a voice and a vessel for the African American community. Because I tell you one thing, as much as this is awesome to see people exercise their freedom of speech and their freedom of assembly and their freedom of press, I could only imagine if it was African Americans there doing that. I tell you that if it was us doing that in the numbers that I've seen, we would have got our asses beat, pepper sprayed. They would have sent the cavalry on our black asses. The horses would have been out there. God damn it. It would have been crazy. Okay, you'd have seen cannons on top of the goddamn governor's mansion. It'd have been crazy, I was like so surprised that they were getting away with all that they were getting away out there, because I know for a fact that if it was people that looked like me, you, Governor Wildstar, or my brother Joshua, if there was that many amount of people out there that looked just like you and I and all of us, then it'd have been a completely different news story. Although I'm a true libertarian when it comes to more freedom and less government, but at the same time, black people's freedoms has been eradicated into a way where we're supposed to be desensitized and minimalized by our agenda here in the United States. This is our country more than it is anybody's country. We are the only people here in America that are not immigrants. We're not immigrants. We didn't get no visa, no green card, or none of that weird shit. We're sons of slaves. And we still haven't got our reparations. We're still fighting and arguing for reparations. Because the last 400, for the entire time we've been in this country, all we've been fighting for is equality, equity, to be on the same playing field, to be on the same level.
Yeah.
We have never got what's truly due to us. We have never got what's truly owed to us. When I see these Indians and all that, and I love for the Indians, I love everybody. When I see the Indians, they're fighting with this system because the system came and stole their land. Stole their land from them. And then you get us for our free labor on the land that's not even ours. After you stole the land, make us build it. They say a white man's heaven is a black man's hell. And I would just really wonder what would happen if people like me and you came up to that Capitol the way that our other brothers and sisters came up there and exercised their freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of press. I wonder what would happen, but I guarantee you it'd be a different news story. I
couldn't agree with you more, man. I mean, I've been seeing actually a lot of posts talking about, this is the way black people are treated during the stay-home quarantine versus white people. And it's interesting to see that dynamic and even have it come up in conversation because, we talk about equality and talk about exercising our freedom of speech and, freedom of press. You're being approached by more so independent journalists versus the mainstream media who don't want to talk about this at all. It's like they're not touching it with a 10-foot pole. And it's always been perceived not only by the public, but by the media that Black people need to be more subservient than anybody, And I'm sure you've seen, experienced that yourself out there in Illinois since all of these parties that we keep hearing going down in Chicago, right, Josh?
Oh, yeah. Ticketed fines, big fines on people having parties. Oh, man. Yeah. Yes, we do. You see it.
So why do you see the disproportion between Blacks and whites in happening in a time to where you would think all of our rights would be restricted, no matter what your race may be? You know what I mean?
Right.
But we're seeing the application of that being more so, I guess, being strengthened upon the Black community versus any. And even now, so we're being told that we're the most vulnerable. It's like they come up with a story left and right about what's going on. So it's sad to see this happen. We got a few comments here. My man TJ jumped in the house. He says, "Hola, what's up, TJ?" And let's see, TJ Shelton jumped in the room. He says they would have used it as an excuse to push gun laws. Ain't that right? And let's see. Lynn Owens says, "Crazy bitch knows what she's talking about. You'll see. It's to teach a man to fish thing. Come on, let's get that ripple effect going. I need more than 1 million followers to work. Help me out." We do need a bigger group of people going out there. Like Mr. Clark just pointed out, if it was Black people actually going out there and causing some noise, what would be the response of the police? And I'm promoting that. I would love to see more people of the Black community out there, which is why I'm glad, Mr. Clark was able to join me out there. So are you making an effort to do it as well where you are, Josh?
Yes, we are making an effort here as well. Yes, we are. Like I said, we're just at the Capitol building. Some select people from the party, not as much from our community at all. Not too much from the community at all. That's the part we're trying to get them involved more into. Fighting for your doggone freedom here. That's all you have.
Yeah. Now, another sad thing is they're not talking about rent landlords, going after tenants for rent. They're trying to hush that story up, but I get tons of
shit for me.
All right.
They ain't getting goddamn thing for me. You gotta send the sheriff.
They're telling everybody to stay their money in their pocket, that they're not going to evict anybody, so you don't have to worry about the sheriff coming. But low key, they're getting threatened by the by landlords saying pay the rent or pitch a tent, and just harassing tenants. And I know this is definitely happening in Fresno. So is it happening where you are, Stevante?
It is. It is. It's happening to a personal friend of mine.
Josh. Go ahead.
I said it's happening to a personal friend of mine here in Chicago. Yeah, it's happening.
Wow. How about you, Stevante? Is it happening out there in Sacramento?
Well, where they're attacking the homeless?
Attacking tenants and telling them you better pay your rent or get your ass out.
I really couldn't tell you. I don't know. I haven't had no complaints from tenants. I haven't talked to any tenants. When it comes to that, I know if there was a problem with that, I guarantee you I would have heard numerous complaints. But so far I haven't heard anything. So, but what I'm hearing also is that, you're not going to be able to just go on without not paying rent. You have to pay these rents back, is what I'm hearing, eventually at some point.
Right.
So they're letting you not get away with not paying your rent, but they're letting you get some time until you get back on your feet or whatever the case may be. So I know they're not doing rent forgiveness. I know that for sure. And rent forgiveness will be like you not paying rent, and then at the end of this virus or whatever, the landlord says, okay, don't worry about what was owed for the last 4 or 5 months because we were under a pandemic. You don't need to pay me back. I don't need to pay my mortgage because we were forgiven on the mortgage and whatnot. We don't have that system in place. And the federal government isn't taking a bigger step when it comes to leadership. They're letting the states take their own leadership. And I don't, which I'm kind of two sides about that. You know, I believe the states should have control over what they do within their own states, pretty much. But at the same time, what I do not want to see is that a lot of these states get too comfortable with keeping people stuck in a house all day. You know, and I don't want people to think that this is nothing like slavery, because I keep hearing people compare it to slavery. Maybe house arrest, just a little bit, but even when we're talking about house arrest and slavery, these are two completely different things. You know, slavery, you know, our people were beaten and our people were raped, our people were split from our families, our people were, you know, mentally traumatized due to the effects of slavery. Right now, what's going on is we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in this together. So I can't compare slavery from what we went through as a people to these.
If I may say this, would you not compare this to somewhat you being in bondage?
We cannot compare this to slavery at all, Nicholas.
No, I'm saying in bondage, not the slavery of the past. This is a new enslavement because, like you said, it's a restriction of your freedom. You're being told where you can and cannot go.
I'm still going to Walmart. I'm still going to my local cannabis club.
But you know, going to Walmart ain't like going to the, you know.
I'm gonna start doing drive-through strip clubs.
I don't know nothing about that. They don't have no strip clubs in Fresno.
You know they do have right now a drive-through church. You get in the cars, you come to the church, and you guys are on the parking lot. So we're not.
Now see, but that's the thing. Even statewide, there's been some reports of people saying that pastors even saying that they've been ticketed for having a drive-through sermon. You know, where the people pull up in the parking lot and they just tune to a station on their radio and they can hear the sermon, you know, and be
next. Yeah, like it's kind of like the drive-in. It's kind of like the drive-in.
Yeah, exactly. Cops came, ticketed everybody, said you can't be here. And that's
Nicholas. You know, Nicholas, I helped you on your campaign when you ran for governor here in Sacramento. I don't really remember that. When you were running for governor here and you needed an advocate in Sacramento, I helped you with that, you know?
Right.
And you know, what we've noticed during our time working here in Sacramento together is language is everything, right? Language and how you say things in these political circles and forums is everything, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because they will use our words and they will try to turn them against us. They will try to use our words in things that we didn't. I used to say things that, you know, came from the bottom of my heart and they were true and right. But the way I said it probably wasn't the most effective way of saying it. For example, people used to ask me about the Democrats and Republicans, and I used to say, I'd rather you vote a crooked Republican than a decent Democrat. And then people used to say, oh, Mr. Clark, why? And I used to say, well, the Republicans fuck you in the face, the Democrats fuck you in the ass. Either way, you're getting fucked. The way I said that was, you know, not articulately correct, not, you know, probably the best way of saying things. At the same time, that's how I felt about politics. I feel like the Republicans were in your face about their agenda. Hey, we're raising taxes. Hey, we're building the wall. Hey, we're going to do this and do that. Except the Democrats say, oh, we're going to hide behind hope. We're going to hide behind change. We're going to hide behind free health care. I'd rather you tell me straightforward, hey, we're going to build this wall. We're going to do this. Than lie behind hope, change, and social justice issues. But the way I said that turned people off. It turned people off because they were afraid of that language. They're afraid of how aggressive I was being towards them. So when you say the word slavery, when you say we are in slavery, and then I say we're not in slavery, we probably house arrest a little bit. Then I say we're not in slavery. And you say, well, we're in bondage. That word in bondage. You know, when we're talking in these people are, they bougie, they upper echelon. You gotta talk their language to them. You gotta, eat with when you put the fork up and eat the salad, you gotta keep your pinky in the air. You know how they are. So what we want to do is we want to break it down without breaking them down. That makes sense? Break it down without breaking them down.
I'm pretty sure
in slavery, and we are not in bondage.
All right, so Josh, you got to chime in on this, man. You ran for governor of Illinois. You know what I'm saying? You've been around these these sorts that he's speaking of. You know what I mean?
I haven't ran for governor. No, I haven't ran for governor of Illinois. No.
Oh, pardon me. You said you ran. You're running for state representative for District 78 out in Illinois. So I apologize. So with you running as a candidate, being around these elite individuals, you know, these fancy dinners and all that stuff where you got to smooth your way in, is language important? I mean, because I know it is, definitely, but would you say in this in the case of this coronavirus quarantine that it could be compared in some way to some shape of enslavement in some way?
Well, in my district, I live in a Democratic district. 83% of people here vote Democrat in my district. So the language is more towards what the governor is talking about. You know, staying home, staying safe, staying the feet away from everybody. I mean, being, when you say bondage, yeah, you have to watch the language. The language can damage you. It can hurt you, especially here. If it not damage you, it can take away your political career here in Illinois. Not for just me running now, it could be forever here in Illinois. I had to move to another state and run as a Republican somewhere else or Libertarian somewhere else. But verbiage. Yeah, you have to watch. You have to watch the language that you use in these certain groups. Like you said with the fork, yeah, you have to be careful because they're watching you. They're watching every time you say something. You know, I speak on liberty. They say I'm a Republican. I speak on less taxes. They say I'm Republican. At the end of the point, Democrats don't want to pay more taxes either. So
yeah, of course, nobody wants to pay more taxes. Shit, but I mean, it's sad that as Black people, we got to be more sensitive to saying those sorts of things versus white people. Because Stevante, while we were out there were a lot of people that had signs that said, you know, we don't want to be slaves, or this is like slavery. All sorts of
man, these privileged ass Californians.
Hey, for them to make that comparison versus
people are spoiled. You hear me? They are spoiled.
Well, we got John Ferrero. He said
they come out here to the Capitol. They bring their babies and their children and their grandmother, bring their entire families out here.
It was beautiful.
They treat it like a picnic and a barbecue, and I tell you, and honestly, it was amazing to see people get together. You know, honestly. Right. It was amazing, but at the same time, you know, I firmly believe that us as African Americans, not only do we have to be extra particular when it comes to our language, we have to be extra cautious when it comes to how we protest and how we gather. Yeah. Because, you know, what Martin Luther King did, which I love Martin Luther King because his organization, his way to outreach. He used to say, we're going to be nonviolent, we're going to march the streets, and we're going to get our asses beat on TV. And when America sees us get our asses beat on TV, the rest of America will wake up and say, look what's going on. Look at this injustice. Let us stand up. That's what Martin Luther King's thing was. He knew how to get the media's attention. The media only cares about ratings and news and what people are going to look at in drama. Martin Luther King Jr. knew that. He knew that if they were just out there kumbaya and shaking hands and having a good time, if he would have did a march in California, nobody even know media, we wouldn't even know about the civil rights movement. But he knew to go to Selma. He knew to go to the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst places because that's what draws the attention. That's what draws the hype. When you see a lot of these people out there protesting at the Capitol, honestly, I didn't know if it was the protest at the stay-at-home order or I didn't even know if it was the protest to support Trump when it comes to getting elected in November because it felt like a Trump rally. I seen more Trump flags there than I did anything. I seen more Make America Great Again hats than I seen anything. I seen more Keep America Great Again hats than I seen anything. I did not see many vaccine signs. I did not see many bondage signs like that. What I seen was a bunch of Trump supporters in their red, white, and blue exercising their constitutional rights.
Man, the man in the cage that was running around, I mean, it was a white dude. Literally running around.
That was one man in the cage, and that is not, and let's not. And he, when he came there, when I was having a conversation with him, he expected to go to jail. He expected to get detained. He knew he was getting detained. He came there willing and ready to get detained. And we got to keep in mind that this fight is a fight that we got to fight together on all levels. But at the same time, we got to keep in mind the reality of the situation. If it was people that look like us out there talking the way we talk out there, our black asses would have been dragged out in the handcuffs. They would have brought the cavalry out there. The horses would have been out there. They'd have brought the National Guard for our black asses.
Yeah.
They probably would have even tried to call Obama to get our asses home. You know, I don't know what the hell. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I know for a fact that the response that was given to those protesters at the state capitol a few days ago was not the response that we would have gotten if we would have taken our asses out there in the same droves of number and the same actions and whatnot. And if you look at the protest, if you look at the protest within my brother's protest for Stephon Clark, people, you know, we didn't get to do all that. You know,
you're right.
We didn't get to do all that, you know, at all. And
they gave you a rule book.
What they did during a stay-at-home order, the governor told them to ordered them to stay at home, and then they brought the protest to the governor's house, and didn't go nowhere and stayed out there and made a mockery of them. What it was is something that our people, you know, we need to take notes and see how these things are done and get back to our drawing board and come together, unify in our communities, so that way we could take our constitutional rights that were used against us and use it for us and for everybody who's under this corrupt regime. Because this system does not represent our fights, our rights, and our causes. Period.
You're right.
Period. I might not be the most articulate. I might not be the most smartest. I might not be the tallest or the prettiest. But I tell you this way, I'm not a slave, and I won't be held to bondage or anything to this corrupt and crooked system.
Good. And I would love for every Black person to have that same spirit. Shit, if Juneteenth Day roll around and we still got this stay home order, maybe we can coordinate, you know, for some Black people to go out there and test the waters and see what happens. Who knows? But Akira is on here. She said Mr. Clark is talking real shit.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Clark talking real shit. You damn right.
John Ferrero says, we are in an unconstitutional house arrest. Since you're saying we under house arrest, it's an unconstitutional one. And James Judge, candidate for
you can still leave the house.
In Sacramento, says it can be a violation. He says it can be a violation of basic human rights without escalating into slavery. So I think that says a lot. And Lynn Owens says, say my name, Miss 5250. So what's up to you, Lynn? Miss 5250.
Her name is 5250.
Yeah.
I know what a 5150 is.
I know, right? She won up from the 50.
God damn, she's crazy.
And TJ Shelton says early American participation in vocational slave training brought about the industrialization of this nation. Now we are all slaves in. Used to be squaws and braves in. Yeah, exactly. Like TJ said here, we're all slaves to the almighty dollar, you know, real talk. But moving along here, have you guys also, okay, so I don't know where what they do in Illinois, Josh, but here in California, we actually have a tax against plastic bags, okay? They make you charge like, they make you pay like 25 cents, 30 cents, you know, depending on where you
10
go.
10 cents a bag out here.
10 cents a bag, okay, so it just varies where you go throughout the state, right? All of a sudden, due to this corona thing, because they don't want you to touch bags and all of this stuff, no more bag tax out the window, and now they give you a bag, a paper bag, if anything, you know. You see them create this law, create this tax, impose it on we the people, and then all of a sudden, because of this, automatically take it away. So are you seeing the same things, the same types of things happen out there where you are?
No, we're still being taxed for bags. Our convenience stores are taxing us for bags. When I went to the store the other day, yeah, we're still getting taxed for our bags. So that hasn't stopped.
Damn, man. This is
Governor Pritzker. He's not gonna. He wants the money, man. He's a billionaire. You know, he don't want to give it up. Come on now.
That is awful, man. You would think with so many people out of work, you know, don't have money, filing unemployment, you know.
Well, another thing, they haven't stopped. Like they kept the increases. All state workers are still getting their pay increases this year. That's not stopping. That's what $200 some million they increased already. Mm-hmm. Basically, the politicians are still getting paychecks while people at home not getting paid at all.
Right.
You know, they lost their jobs.
Right.
So come on now, you know, something got to give here. Something have to let go. I mean, those same taxpayers got to pay for those jobs. You know, so
right. Yeah, it's awful because you see it happening to where a lot of also you have healthcare workers being furloughed. You know, meanwhile, state employees, are now getting hired so they can do extra code enforcement. Like what's happening here in Fresno. They're actually hiring more city officials to do code enforcement around the city. Yet you have teachers that have been laid off. You have healthcare workers that are not working right now. I actually plan on releasing a video that I have soon of me going around showing how empty these damn hospitals are here in Fresno. So it was all done really just to get extra federal aid, believe it or not, disaster aid. And so they basically just hit print on the money making machine. And, anybody that wanted some can have some. So we see that happening with the socialized medicine statewide, and as well as nationwide. Here in California, it's one of the worst. Akira says, I really hate how I go on Facebook and all these bitch ass police for they keep arresting black people. Yeah, on my way to the Sacramento rally, I actually got arrested for speeding, believe it or not. That video is available on my YouTube channel, so please check that out because it is very entertaining because throughout this whole ordeal, about them pulling me over for causing a danger on the road for speeding, I ended up not getting a damn speeding ticket at all. So what does that even tell you? I mean, why do we have to have our freedoms and liberties stomped on first just to kind of deal with them later? It's awful, So it happens everywhere. I'm sure it happens, out there in Illinois. We hear about, situations like that happening in Chicago.
The police, it feels like in underrepresented, underdeveloped, and at-risk communities, it feels like the police protect property, not people. And I know in Chicago it could feel a whole lot worse because in Chicago, they let them just stay out there to kill each other, die off, and do whatever the hell they want. There's so many guns on the street of Chicago. Mayor Rahm Emanuel has failed Chicago. Not just Lightfoot, but Mayor Rahm Emanuel as well. The other guy with the 7 fingers. Everybody knows that guy is. He failed Chicago as well. And we need more accountability on the past leaders as well. I just watched one of the mayors of New Orleans just got released from jail. I think one of the former mayors of New Orleans, I think his name was, he was the mayor during the Katrina thing. You guys remember that? Mayor.
I forgot his name. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? He's
the light-skinned brother. Nagy or something like that.
Because of the COVID-19 thing. And he was held accountable like that. When it came to accountability, they got on him like that. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to accountability within our communities and our leaders, we as black people, we love to not only break each other down, because we could break each other down because we know each other. We know how to relate within each other. We come from the same economic and the slave traditions, whatever soul food. We came from church, whatever. We came from that. So we know how to talk to each other, communicate with each other, build each other up, and break each other down. When it comes to these people in power, these elected officials, in the African American community, they have become almost to where they feel like they're untouchable. They feel like they're too powerful. They feel like they don't have to answer to our communities. They feel like they don't have to respond to our fights, our rights, and our causes. And until we start to get together, these police will keep murdering our children. Until we as the people, black people, become intellectually independent, they will still keep killing our children. They will keep brutalizing us. Our people are afraid to call the police because we don't know if we're calling our killers.
Right.
We don't know if we're calling our killer. We don't know that because we know damn well if Sandu or Brother Muhammad called and made a complaint about his liquor store or his cab stand or his ice cream shop or whatever, we will be the suspects. Number one, it'll be us. We will be suspects. And I'm not saying black people are victims or career victims or volunteer victims or anything of that nature. What I'm saying is we've been fucked since before slavery, but even since the emancipation. Even you know, we've been when you look at redlining, you look at the war on drugs, you look at the mass incarceration, you know, you look at even the cannabis thing. All our brothers locked up for this cannabis, and now to even get started with the cannabis contract, you need over $100,000 if you're not included in some type of core equity program.
Exactly.
So now you done lock this all up over the weed, and now you're making billions over weed, billions over marijuana. After you've broken, split families apart. So until we become intellectually independent and start taking what, you know, my problem is that when it comes to reparations is we should have never stopped that conversation. We should have never stopped the conversation when it comes to reparations. Because when we start thinking about, we got so many fights, you know, we want to vote. Because you got to understand, at one point, we're only counted as, 3/5 of a man? You know, we're counted as a whole person. And they still look at us like that. They might not, you know, people say, oh, we're not racist, it's a classism thing. Well, if we're thinking about classism, class is derived off race, right? Because I can't be racist because I'm a son of a slave. How can I be racist if I don't even, you know, have the financial power to be racist? You see what I'm saying? I cannot be racist. I can only be racial. I believe black people can only be, you know, honestly, we can't afford to be racist. We could be racial.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, we could be racial, but we cannot be racist.
Let me ask you, brothers, then, because the one thing about all of this is Black people need to have some sort of a plan. You know, what do we do as a community moving forward to resolve this? Because
I got an idea. I'm glad you asked. For a solution. Yes, actionable items. I'm glad you asked. This is what we do.
All right.
Let me break it down to you. Okay, so the plan is to become, like I said, the plan is to become intellectually independent. That's our word of the day. Intellectually independent. The way we do that as a people, Black men, we have to take the leadership role because people listen to us, whether they respect us or fear us, they listen to us. Okay, so this is what we do. What we do is we start and begin our own de-escalation tactical teams in our communities. But when we start these de-escalation tactical teams, we don't unify them by using politics or religion. It makes sense? So I'm talking about think of something like the Guardian Angels. Remember the Guardian Angels?
Yeah.
You know, they don't talk about them no more. But somewhere when we have a community protection service, so that way, instead of calling the police, you call your neighbor. You call your big brother. You see what I'm saying? And if the de-escalation tactical team cannot handle that situation, or the situation is too wild or too out of control, then that team that we have in place in order should then be the call to law enforcement.
Right.
Because once that team makes the call to law enforcement and law enforcement arrives, then we could begin our cop watch and our NLG types of services. NLG, National Lawyers Guild, take notes and write and make sure they're represented correctly. Cop watch, make sure our people aren't being brutalized or hurt or anything of that nature. If we get these things together, if we have our de-escalation tactical teams serving and protecting our community, big brothers and big homies saying, hey, look, you in a domestic violence relationship, let me take you outside, young man, and holler at you. Let me talk to you, young man. Like elders used to do it. The elders used to sit us down in the back and say, sit the fuck down and don't get up. Let me talk to you.
But that's later on down the line. With regards
no. We can't think later on down the line.
People are scared. And Black people,
we got to think now. We can't
think
that's the problem. We're always thinking later on down the line.
But Black people right now seem to be the biggest.
We have to unify now.
Yeah. But right now, Black people are too scared to come out of their houses, man. I get attacked by more Black people than anything. I do. I mean,
you brother, you don't speak for all brothers.
I don't. You're right about that. I said what I've been receiving. I was on Facebook earlier. I posted a picture and a sister put on there. She was like, is this you? Because if so, I'm not a friend of you because I can't fuck around with fools like you. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm out there fighting for freedom. If anything, people that have been affected by this family, such as me, myself, you know, I have a child. She doesn't know, you know, me.
Not everybody, Wildstar, you're a good guy. I know you're a good guy, but not everybody's going to respect your fight and fight your fight with you. Not
you're right.
Going to see the revolution as you see the revolution. When I jumped on that mayor's desk after my brother died, I jumped on that damn desk alone. Nobody else jumped on. When I was ready for the revolution, like really ready for the revolution, it was only me. And most people aren't really ready until they're directly affected, until they're directly impacted, until their brother is killed, until their job is taken away, until their house is bought off by the bank, until their wife leaves them for their best friend. That's when people get affected. Hurt people hurt people. You hear me?
Yeah.
And the only reason they hurt people because they're so comfortable with talking about the problem because they ain't got no damn solutions.
Yeah.
I respect you because
and that's what trauma is.
I respect you because you're a man. You're a free thinker, number one, and you're trying to do what you could do to bring awareness. But at the same time, you got to understand that not everybody's going to be with you just because of your agenda is righteous.
Nor am I expecting them to be. But my own family have, said they don't want to talk about going outside. They think it's disrespectful. They think it's selfish. You know what I'm saying? I got homies like you, not like you, but then you know what I'm saying? Brothers that I know that are contacting me saying, why are you supporting going outside? You one of them Trump supporters. You know what I'm saying? They automatically just couple me in with what they see on TV, which is a whole
about black people.
Yeah, well, the ones in my circle again. So, and what I've been seeing on Black Twitter, Black Instagram, Black Facebook, you know what I'm saying? Just looking at their reception.
They call me too.
Black celebrity. All of them are doing.
They call me a coon.
Yeah, exactly.
Out there, I was called a coon. What did they call me? They said I'm doing anything for attention.
Sell out, all that shit.
Bro, Wildstar,
all of it.
They called me an Illuminati. They said I'm a crisis actor. They said I sold my brother to the devil. I sold his soul to the devil. They said I was a homosexual out there just looking for guys to lay around with and have sex with. They said I was on drugs, high off dope and crack and all that. My grandma reading this shit. Keep in mind. So but when it comes to the fight, I'm okay with that. Because they talked about Jesus. I'm okay with them talking about me and hating on me. And that means I'm doing something right.
Right, brother.
I'm doing something right.
Right.
Because, they so comfortable talking about me, but they sitting on the sidelines doing it. They sit on the sidelines talking about me.
Exactly.
They're mad because, I know why they've been mad at me because I have a legacy. And a lot of people don't have legacies. I have a voice. You have a voice. And when you have a voice and people listen to you, who I vote for, people will look at me and say, Stevante voted for that guy, so I'm going to vote for that guy. Not because I know who that person is, but just because Stevante did. That's called a voice. That's called a legacy. That means my opinion means something to people. So why the hell would I pay attention to these damn flies? Elephants do not swat flies. I'm an elephant. I'll be damned if I pay attention on swatting a goddamn fly. Why? I don't even see them. I won't even communicate on the same level. It's like giraffes and sea turtles. We're on different levels. I don't see these people. I don't see. Well,
we gotta be influential to the Black community in many ways. You've definitely done that in a monolithic way.
If the Black ignorance is bliss, but at the same time, if the Black community if you want to see us pay the price, if you see me paying the price, and you want to sit back, you want to be a scared Negro and still be oppressed by the same Democrats who've been raising your rent, the same Democrats who are keeping the Black people homeless. Over 40% of Black people are homeless in California. Most of those Black people are African American. Black people are homeless. Black people are losing their jobs. Black people are being the most affected by this coronavirus epidemic. So if you want to trust and believe that corrupt government system, if you want to keep your trust in this political institutions and whatnot, go ahead. You do that. You keep that shit over there. But if you're ready for some type of change, if you're ready for some real effective change and not just change as a symbol like Obama was a symbol. He was not real change. It was a symbol. But if you want a change, then come on down to death row and let's start this de-escalation tactical teams. Let's start these de-escalation tactical teams for our communities. Let's protect our babies. Let's protect our children because until we stop killing each other, they're going to keep killing us.
Well, right now, but they're not even reporting on black crime. All of a sudden, that just.
We got to stop calling it black.
But I'm just saying, the media.
Black crime. Because we don't call white on white crime. Of
course.
Stop doing that. We got to be careful with our language and everything and how we say things. I call it community violence. Because when white people, when Dylan Roof shoots up a school, we don't say, God damn, look at this white on white crime. Oh my God. No, we don't do that. We go, damn, look at this crazy ass white boy shooting up schools and shit. You know? Yeah. But it's not white on white crime. You know, it's not white on white. So why we gotta be black on black crime?
You're right, Josh.
Sick of that. I'm getting sick of how they put us
out
in
there in Chicago.
I'm getting sick of how they treat our people and how they label our kids. And the reason our kids are still out there with their pants hanging and loitering and cussing and not saying yes ma'am and yes sir, the reason they're out there doing that is because they have no influence. They have nowhere to go. They have nobody hugging them and loving them. And whenever older black men come around, they always tell them what they need to be doing or vilifying them or trying to give them some advice or something. Instead of saying, you know what, just come with me. When I go to see brothers in front of liquor stores and they look uncomfortable and they look like they don't want to be there, I say, come with me.
Right.
I say, you know what, come with me. And we go to my meetings. We go to City Hall. You know what I mean? I take them around to go help and feed people. I take them around to see what a real activist is, not an activist, the activist.
Exactly.
A lot of people are activists. They're doing it for TV time. They're doing it for their 501c3s. They're not doing it for the people. They don't have no love for the people. Everything I've been doing for my brother's name has been out of the kindness and the love of my heart and the legacy of Stevante. I don't have a 501c3. I'm not fundraising for any organization. I'm not raising money for my personal cause. Everything I do is out of my pocket. It's free, and it's for the people.
Exactly.
But yet they still want to talk shit about him, but it's okay because they talked about Jesus. But these are solutions that I'm talking about. And the solutions and the actionable items is us beginning our own de-escalation tactical teams until we protect ourselves. Brother to brother to sister.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
They will keep oppressing us. They will keep brutalizing us. They will keep raising our rents. They will keep keeping us out of their loans because we don't get loans like the immigrants do. We don't get loans like Caucasians do and all that other shit.
Yeah.
Because it's racism, but it's classism. And you got to understand this fight is a more classism thing. It's, you know, when I was growing up in the ghetto before my brother died, people used to judge each other off the shoes they wore, you know, the type of shoes. So if you had a type of Jordans on, they'd be like, oh, okay.
We all grew up in that type of neighborhood.
Yeah. and it's the same thing. Nowadays, it's the same thing, except it's not the shoes no more. The only thing that's different is we're not looking at the shoes anymore. That's the only thing different. But it's the same, but we're still looking at each other, just looking up and down, waiting to be judgmental.
It is.
Have some type of doubt on one another. And
it is a matter of stepping up to the plate and being an influence in the community, and like you said, taking more of a mentorship role. What I attempted to do with you, just to kind of help somebody get back on the right track, you know, and steer them in the right direction. And I'm pretty sure, Josh, you out there in Chicago, black on black violence, as the media wants to paint it, you know what I mean? See a lot of community violence. And if we had more groups like the Black Panther Party, you know, something where we actually had more community activism, more community development, where we actually had a strategy and we took care of each other and built up our own community, would you see that being more effective to us getting out of this coronavirus situation right now?
Yeah, because we'll be looking up to our own selves, looking to our own people for our own improvement. Right now, we depend on government. We constantly depend on government to get us out of our own problems and our situations. We know we have a problem. You know, we keep talking about the problem, but nobody coming with resolutions for these problems. So we have to do is we have to sit down at the table ourselves and work on resolutions for these problems. We can't wait for no other race, no other class of people. We got to our own class of people to do these things. Sick and tired of, like you say, sick and tired of hearing black on black crimes. Like, here in Chicago, we have murders, we have shootings. Right now, we had almost 1,000 shootings just in the black community alone. We have almost 200 murders just in Chicago in the black community alone. So we know this. We understand that. We have to work on that. I can't wait on CPD. I can't wait on the mayor to fix those problems because they're not going to fix our goddamn problems. They haven't did in all these years. Nobody has actually worried about the black community since Harold Washington. I was born in 86. Harold Washington died in 87. Nobody has fought and worked for the black community since that man has. And until somebody step up, like what I'm trying to do here, is step up for our community because we don't have a voice. Yeah, we have a lot of black politicians. That's nice and dandy. but they are tailored to the white communities, not our black communities.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we have. That's the resolution we need to resolve is why we send you to Springfield, why we send you to Congress, and the only thing you're going to fight for is what Tom, Dick, and Harry out in Lake Forest can get, or out in Bridgeport. I live in Austin, the largest black community in the city of Chicago. Almost 100,000 people of this black live in Austin community, but they don't care about that. That's not what they want to hear. So we got to decide that. We got to fix that problem. You know, like I said, we got brothers here that's doing it. We need more brothers like you guys. We need more brothers here doing it, not just in Chicago, across the country. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that's the big fight. That's what that's what the fight got to start. It has to start in those communities. You know.
So you mentioned something there that I kind of want to, pick out because it plays a role in what you're trying to do. You know, when you trying to better the community, when you get that backlash from those that you're trying to help, and then it makes it more difficult in those efforts. So again, with the coronavirus situation, they're going to be more entrusting on those individuals right now that are telling them to stay home. You know, that just seems to be the most safest answer, and since the majority politically is saying that, or just as a population period, how can you inspire them or get them enthusiastic about living free again,
Well, like I said, you got to constantly push our agenda and our message. Just like they push their agenda and their message, we have to push our own agenda on our own messages. We have to do our own demanding. We don't do our own demanding. You know, we sacrifice too much, give up too much. We give up our communities, we give up our kids. Our schooling is to them, not to our own. We have to push our own message. That's what we have to start doing. We don't do it as a whole. You know,
Right.
like you say, I've been called Uncle Tom. I've been called all this. I'm Uncle Tom. I'm still fighting in my own community. I still live in my own community. The same community, black community I was born and raised in. I haven't left. I'm still here. So how you consider me an Uncle Tom? You know,
Right. Tell
hell
them,
my
man.
face with that, man. You know,
That's really good for you to point out, man, because it's sad that we kind of face that same type of backlash and scrutiny in our own community when we go out and we face that. We experience that everywhere else. You know, it would be nice to kind of just find some welcome arms for once, So it is very important that we all go out there, do our part, break down the walls of fear, because that right now seems to be the biggest thing that has control over people. You know what I mean? Them being afraid, and the fear machine is working overtime. You know what I mean?
for sure. And the lies are constantly going through the media. You know, Malcolm X always said, the media, it's the biggest crooks, the biggest criminals. They push the message they want you to hear. What sells.
Yes.
And with, I was listening to a video with the lead doctor from here in Illinois, and just because, if a person dies, a gunshot victim wound, a person dies, or they have a heart attack, maybe from previous illnesses, and they also died, they test positive to corona, they could still consider a death of coronavirus. So the numbers, they constantly pushing, stupid numbers, man, don't make any sense,
Spirit
so
of fear.
Man, still fear, and that's what people are afraid of, and we like I said, we got to push our own agendas. We got to change the message. We got to change
telling the truth.
We got to change the messaging, man. We have to, because I don't believe the numbers at all. I don't believe the numbers are so crazy as they say it are, but they didn't get the fear out there enough for people to believe it. They believe it, and they are scared. And like I say, our leaders in our communities that are already in place need to step out. They're gonna be whistleblowers, but we need to get once they find out what they're whistleblowers, we need to get behind our people and support them. They're not gonna fight those numbers. Like I told a person, I said, well, I'm gonna get a lot of fight back on trying to lower taxes, trying to do black liberation in our communities, black economic liberation. So what I need is 100,000. I don't care, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, behind me in Springfield. You got 100,000 people coming from your district, coming from your area. They're not going to shut you down. There's going to be more numbers coming behind you with those groups.
Yeah, we got to support. We got to stand behind our brothers when they do come out. Like we got, I wish I'd have known about that, Joshua. I would have been right behind you, brother. I'd have, man, and got a couple supporters behind you too. because we need that. And I look at somebody like Bill Cosby, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was, kind of talked about because I was kind of upset what happened to Bill Cosby, because of the way the justice system went after him, but didn't go after Donald Trump. The way the justice system went after him, but are just now going after Harvey Weinstein.
Mm-hmm.
The way the justice system went after this brother after he was trying to buy NBC, all of a sudden, you want to come after this 80-year-old blind man. And everybody, my thing is everybody has an agenda, and a lot of people pay a price for their agenda. I'm not victim blaming or anything or nothing like that, But what I'm saying is, if I'm in a relationship with a girl right now, I'm 28 years old, Josh. Which is why I'm 28 years old. And then if I'm in a relationship right now with a girl and we're in the club and I'm, whatever, we partying, we living our best life, we getting high, living the world, doing whatever we doing. I do not expect by the time I'm 82 or 83, the actions that I did as a 28-year-old consensually with these adults at the time, in my head, will carry me on so long that when I'm trying to acquire an NBC station or trying to do something that has never been done within the Black community, these things come back, bite me in the ass. Everything's gone. My career is in shambles. My show's off the air. I can't buy the NBC, and my marriage is falling to pieces. My health is deteriorating. Now, all of a sudden, my legacy is diminished, gone, dead, ruined, and tarnished.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine that on my worst enemy. But I couldn't imagine that being somebody like, and the reason I'm bringing up Bill Cosby is because Bill Cosby is telling that nature in the Black community as the Barack Obama. Bill Cosby is held on that level as the Oprah Winfrey. Bill Cosby is on a higher level because of, his, not only as America's dad, not only as a comedian, but Bill Cosby gave more to any HBCU than anybody ever. Bill Cosby have donated more to the HBCUs than any comedian, actor, entertainer that have ever lived. So when I see the Black community don't come behind Bill Cosby the way I felt we should have gotten behind Bill Cosby, since the president, the one who's in the White House, has openly admitted to grabbing bitches by the pussy and taking them furniture shopping and all types of shit. Now, he's on tape saying it.
Right.
Still running the country. And here we got Bill Cosby, and it's not that many sisters that accuse him of doing that, but I guarantee you, most of those sisters that accused him had an agenda. I guarantee you, he had something that they wanted, and most people
are money.
But they're willing.
It's always about the money.
But they're willing to pay a price for that agenda, whether it's the money, whether it's the acting role, whether it's the meeting with his executives or his producers or his friends. They're willing to pay a price and put themselves in that situation, in that predicament for their agenda. You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So we need to, Black people, the same hate we go out there and give Trump, that same energy when it comes to that hate we give him, is the same energy when it comes to love we need to give when we see somebody like Joshua or Brother Wildstar doing something for our community, trying to do something righteous, trying to, we are always so ready to fight and be mad and be angry and break people down and fight for the cause and whatnot. But whenever it comes to supporting one another and loving each other and build each other up and having restorative justice meetings, because in the Black community, we haven't had those either. Restorative justice meetings. We haven't sat down at the table and said, okay, you from here, I'm from here. Your daddy was this, my daddy was that. Your mama was this way. I was light-skinned. You was dark-skinned. You got the biggest house, smart. Let's get together. Fuck all the differences. We haven't had that. We haven't had that restorative justice meeting in the African-American community. That's why you see a gap, not only between the African-American community and the whites and law enforcement, but you see a huge bridge when it comes to African-American community and Africans.
Yeah.
Nigerians, Ethiopians, and so on and so forth.
And the divide does get further with the Black community. It's sad to see it happen. Light-skinned people and dark-skinned ones.
It's a gap that we haven't, and how dare we try to fight this oppressed system, this government, which is organized on structures. This government is on its organizational structure is layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. You have the FBI, the police, the Justice Department, the DEA, the Border Patrol. You have so many different law enforcement entities alone, just law enforcement entities. Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Department. So many different departments of law. We don't even have one structure of law, not one pillar of law. If it's not created by the church, if the church doesn't own it, we don't have no say in it. Because we let the church control our lifestyles, our way of livelihood. The church used to tell us how to live, what to do, when to march, when to go to work, when to sit down, when to protest, when to take the bus, when not take the bus. The church used to control us.
Yeah. Now, it's also a hub for the money. And I mean, it's a place where we put all of our money into. If we ever actually put our money in a pot to, let's say, build our own parks.
But that takes organized structures. You know that.
Yes.
You know that, Wildstar. We have to start with the structures of it. It's like when you call the police, you don't call the police. You call the dispatcher. Okay? And then the dispatcher gets that, transfers over to the police line. An officer, which officer's on the field, they see that call, they pick it up, and they respond. And then once they get there, they have another organizational level where they call that 10-4, and then 30 niggas come. 30 of them niggas come in 5 minutes.
Right.
We need that.
Yeah.
Until we get that, they don't keep fucking us up.
And
black men have to take the charge because the black woman, they haven't seen that from us the way that they would want to see it because they've been busy taking the charge. You see all these black women marches and all these black women uniteds and black women for Elizabeth Warren. And there was a point in time where you used to have a 1 million man march with black men.
You don't have that anymore.
There was a point in time where, black men used to, you get any speaker that was talking about political rights or fighting the system or sticking to the man, you have a room filled with nothing but black men. Because they knew that struggle in that fight. How did we become comfortable with pain? How did we get, adjusted to being brutalized? We are getting comfortable with, corporate slavery.
Yeah,
We're getting comfortable with being ignorant.
Conditioned.
We're getting comfortable to being conditioned.
You know what I'm saying? And and the conditioning definitely needs to stop. I mean, because it does create it creates a sense of complacency. And if people can get to the point that where they just are, they're happy being wherever they are in life, not getting ahead further than they are, just accepting where they are, then we aren't going to grow as a community. One of the things that I talked about during my campaign for mayor was what you pointed out, us actually building some independence, having our own bank, having our own, our own utility company, having our own police department, you know what I mean? To where we're the first responders in our own communities versus, the authority, the establishment that we've created, because that shift needs to happen somewhere. And I hope at some point we start getting involved politically, getting away from the whole Democratic Republican, duopoly system, because the two-party system is definitely killing us. It's taking us down with it. You know what I mean?
Democrats have failed. The Republicans have failed. The Libertarians have failed. The Green Party has failed. They have all failed. All of them. All of them.
I think that's why we got to be ambassadors to kind of get into these parties, fight for we the people, win those parties' nominations if possible. I plan on running.
In some countries, Wildstar, in some countries you have no choice but to be engaged in politics.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have no choice.
Right. I mean, that's something that they don't have here. And, I don't think people should be forced to do anything that they don't want to do. If you don't want to get involved in politics, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you got to know how.
If you don't get involved in no, stop. You're being too nice. No. Let me tell you, I want everybody watching to know something. There's politics in everything that you do. everything is political.
Of course.
Politics in everything. So I'm not saying I'm trying to force you to be political or nothing, but everybody has an agenda. If they don't have an agenda, they have a price.
But all right, so you said it's politics involved in everything. I actually pointed that out to somebody because they were talking about me making a comment on nextdoor.com and it being political. And I'm like, you guys make everything political, from a dog shitting on your yard to, mailboxes being broken into. They talk about more laws.
The worst kept secret is, there's no morals in politics.
Right. I think that's where libertarianism comes into play. Whether you are involved in a libertarian party or not, you can be an advocate of liberty, which is what you are.
What drew me to the Libertarian Party, and what I think will draw other African Americans to the Libertarian Party, is the fact that libertarians don't give a shit who you marry, don't give a shit what drugs you do in your house, don't give a shit what you do in your spare time, personal time. You do you, boo-boo. The only thing is you pay for it with your money. You pay for it with your money, out of your pocket, with your cash, okay? That's what got me to the Libertarian movement, because people was coming to me, and they say, Mr. Clark, you got a backwood? And I'd be like, no, I got my own. I support my own habit. I got my own backwood. You get your own backwood. You support your own habit. Don't come to me. Don't come to me asking for shit. You go get your own shit. So that was me being a libertarian before I was even a libertarian.
Straight up. And that's how we got to do it, man.
What they say, teach a man how to fish. No, fuck it. Fishing is easy. It's not that hard. He can teach his own self how to fish.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
Ain't got time for all that. We ain't got time to be teaching nobody shit, man. Learn from history. The history is already laid out. History has laid out what was wrong. We got to go and learn from our forefathers. Learn from our ancestors. We have to learn. We have to read. You cannot lead if you do not read. We have to read. They say if you want to hide something from a brother, put it in the book. Okay? We need to start reading. And then we have to start reaching out back to them young brothers that you usually wouldn't talk to. The ones with the dreadlocks, like you, Wildstar. This is the natural one. We got to go back and reach out to those brothers. We got to reach out to those sisters out there who ain't got no daddy, who ain't got no big brother, who ain't got no positive male role models. We have to go back and reach out to them and say, no, there's some real guys out here. There's some real brothers out here who don't want to use you, who don't want to abuse you, who don't want to put you down, who don't want to holler at your mama. You know what I mean? We need brothers like us who are out there going to be unapologetic and authentic about our people and our fights and our rights and our causes. Because if we don't go out there, kids are looking at us. Kids are looking at us. And kids are going to hold us accountable if we fail.
Oh, yeah. That's why we got to be.
If they don't hold us accountable, their children will hold us accountable. They will say the same thing my generation said about those of the 80s. At
some point, because it becomes generational.
Some crackhead ass.
Well, it's that generational curse that we talk about. You know what I'm saying? How do we stop and break that cycle? It comes with us putting our foot down and taking a stand. You know what I mean? And it does lean on the shoulders of the Black man and the Black community. I think it's time for us to stand up and kind of elevate this to another level. Because we all do want to experience another level of community, another level of freedom, and we have to unify in order to achieve that. So I don't want to hold you brothers up too long because I know you got families. What's that? Yes, sir.
Malcolm all right. Again. We've been on Malcolm X for a little bit during the Malcolm X, one more time. He says the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, I seen a video recently. Yeah, I seen a video recently of a sister that was walking her dog on the beach down in San Diego, I believe. And this was here in California. And she was walking her dog on the beach, and the governor has closed off the beaches, but a slew of them just chose to open up anyway. So this Black lady was walking her dog on the beach, and all of a sudden the cop came up, harassed her for walking her dog on the beach, and he threw her down on the ground and nobody came to her aid. Nobody came to her rescue. Nobody even protested against the officer's action. So I think
let that be Karen. Let that be Karen or Susan asked.
Would not happen. You know, she would want to see the manager immediately. Hey, brothers, I appreciate you guys for being here with me, and we definitely got to sit down again. I plan on having both of you back on for the Black Side of Liberty. Hopefully, we can do an individual chat, talk more. Okay. So, for all of you people that tuned in and gave us comments, we appreciate you, TJ, Akira. All of you guys, Lynn Owens, all of you guys, Miss 5250, much love to all of you for tuning in. And till next time, long live liberty. Please.
Thank you, brother. All right, now. Take it easy now, Wildstar.
Yeah. Take care. You. Same to you.